everyone. Welcome back to Alma Live. I'm Adriana Monique Alvarez, and we are continuing our series on emotional resilience. And I'm over the moon to have Leigh Jane Woodgate with us. Hi, Leigh. Welcome.
Hello, beautiful woman. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Leigh is a business growth strategist and leadership mentor. And I would love for you to, first of all, tell our listeners where in the world you're joining us from. And then tell us, who you are and what you're up to in the world.
I'm tuning in from Sydney. It is a gorgeous day, and I live here with my 11-year-old son, Noah the kid, who is my business partner, keeps me on track and accountable for everything that I'm doing. And what am I about? I'm about the sustainability of humanity and the planet, and I help women like you, the high achieving ones, the ones that want to do big things in the world. And we build amazing purpose-driven businesses, and we do it profitably, we do it sustainably, and we do it with grace and simplicity and flow. So that is what I am all about.
I love it. I got a lot of love for all of you in Australia. I think the last time Derek and I talked, we have more clients in Australia than in the US now. So
wow.
Yeah, it's interesting how that happens. So thank you for, I know that we have to coordinate time zones and all the rest of it. So thank you for being here. Now, you shared your story in Trailblazers that came out last year, became a best-selling book in 8 countries, and you shared about how you were raised and between your father and his new wife, your stepmom, and then your birth mother and the man that she ended up with, first of all, they were totally different worlds. And you said you often felt alone. Yeah. And so I know the person you are today, and so I can only imagine this has been a journey, quite a journey. And so I would love for you to share with us what your definition of emotional resilience is. What does that look like to you?
Over the years, I would have given you a lot of words a long while ago, but for me, it comes down to one simple thing, and it's accepting what is. Having the capacity and the ability to accept what is, whatever it is that you're thinking, whatever it is that you're feeling, whatever it is that is going on in your physical body or how you're feeling energetically, whatever is going on in your external environment, how people are responding to you, how the weather is changing when there is a global pandemic. It all comes down to having the ability to be with what is. And I find that often people don't give themselves permission to feel. They're too scared to feel. Strong emotions arise in our operating system, and they can often be quite overwhelming. The heart will begin to beat really, really fast, or like just a moment now, the throat stops working, or the mind is going at 1,000 miles an hour when you're doing a yoga session and you're supposed to be there in the present moment, and your head is just going crazy with all the ideas, the messages you can send, the places you want to go, the ideas you've got. And I think that emotional resilience really comes down to being present with what is, accepting things as they are, having the ability to observe them and make changes if that's what you desire. If it's not working out for you, if you don't like it, then change. And change can happen really, really quickly. It can happen quickly and it can happen easily, but often people decide that it's too hard. It's too hard to take that, that first step. The moment that you take the first step, then everything opens up. So acceptance and being present. being able to manage, just manage what's going on and observe it without having to, my background, I've been an addict of all the things, drugs, sex, partying, movement, running away from things, and to be able to be in a place where water is the new drug and sunlight is the new high is a really beautiful place to be.
And one that not many people find their way to. Yeah?
No.
So,
No.
Before we got on, I told you that that's what I've been thinking. When I hear your story, I know that there had to be steps. There might have been big catalysts and sparks, but probably a bunch of baby steps on how you go from addiction and feeling alone in the world and disconnected from women to serving women and being completely clear on the work that you're here to do and coming into harmony and wholeness within yourself. Was there, give us a sliver. What did it look like when you learned how to do this?
I'm all about doing things really quickly. I love to accelerate a process, and I love to feel good. And that is my decision-making process. Does it feel good or does it not feel good? And it's a journey of really owning who I am. And who I am as a woman is someone who is able to juggle multiple projects at once. And whatever I do to a level of excellence. And I love to see other people shine. I love to prop other people up. And this is why I worked with CEOs for such a long time, because the intention was to support them to have great impact in the world. And I could just be the person in the background. And what I found when I worked within organizations is that I spent my whole entire life stepping on people's toes. Because whenever I saw that something wasn't working, I had a solution. And my solution had risk assessments. It had the team built. It had everything that you needed. It had the strategy. It had the kind of people you need to have on board. It had the nature, really working with nature and the cycles. And I would be able to present a solution within moments to a team of people who had been trying to figure out things for a long while. And whenever I was employed for a certain role, that was the role that I was employed for. But if I saw that things weren't working, I would put a system in place. They go, thanks very much, but that's not your role. This is what you're here to do over here. And so I would do my role, and I'd do that really well. And then I would go and do all of these other things. And so a lot of people landed up not looking so good because it was their role. And why didn't they see that before? And maybe the organization had been doing the same thing for 5 years. And because I don't like to do things inefficiently, I don't like people to waste their time. I like to have a lot of fun, and I like to spend more time having fun. I just go and fix a whole bunch of stuff. In doing that, I burnt myself out because I did my role and I was proud of what I was doing. And so I was meeting KPIs. But then I was doing these additional things because I've always been about the greater good. And so if I see something not working, I know the impact that it has on the whole organization. Now, you can imagine what that looks like in an organization with a whole bunch of women or a whole bunch of men, and the men and the women come together, and then Leigh is in the middle doing her thing. And I made sure that I presented myself well. So I always look good, I smell good, and I was a kind human being. And I couldn't understand why every time I was kind and why I was creating a solution and bringing good to these organizations and shifting the culture and bringing to people's attention the things that weren't working. You know, I don't have a problem to see what's not working. I look at it and I go, oh, okay, that's not working. Let's do something about it. A lot of people have fear because they take it on personally, and it's driven by ego. And so I landed up, stepping on a few toes. And I got to a point where I landed up in an organization which was totally in alignment with what was important to me, which is ethics. I've been driven by morals and principles my whole entire life. Whenever I've worked for an organization, or I worked on private yachts for 5 years as well, I chose the organization or the yacht in alignment with what they stood for. The problem is that a lot of people put things on paper, but the actions don't align. So we've got values, but the principles are not aligned with. And I'm a seer. You know, I'm someone who just sees things happening, and I see the train smash coming, and I look at it and I go A to Z, and I call out to the person to go, whoa, this is going down. This thing's just about to happen. Every single time it happened, and people wouldn't listen. And I got to a point where I was tired of functioning at a level of only the intellect. And I was ready to work with people who were ready to bring on their emotional body and their physical bodies and their spiritual bodies and their energetic bodies, because we can't create greater impact in the world unless we're using our operating machinery and listening to it and honoring it and nurturing it as much as possible. It's first and foremost. And I found that, especially because I worked with male CEOs, they remained in the mental realm. And so they ignored their bodies, they ignored their emotions. And I mean, the kind of things that happen between closed doors, between me and CEOs, there have been moments where, you know, they've cracked their hearts open and they're like, but you're not my wife. You're my, because I was an EA, you know, for so many years, and you're supposed to be supporting me doing these things, but you're having these big conversations about the whole entire organization, and you're talking strategy, and you're talking, you know, human resources, and you're talking how we should be running events, and you're talking to me about my behavior and how I'm showing up and the impact that that's having on the culture of our organization. And, you know, not everybody is ready to hear. And so what I realized was that I couldn't slot myself in to an organization or a box and only take the one good thing that was there. I needed to have it all functioning. I needed every area of the business to be working. I needed to have the right people in the right positions and no politics. And so I went, okay, well, I better just create it then. And so that's what I did. I came from my last organization was a not-for-profit that I worked for. And I was ready for some flexibility. And unfortunately, the organization wanted to have me there every single day. I wanted to pick my son up from school more regularly. I wanted to have one work from home day, and I wanted to finish early on a Friday afternoon. And the compromise didn't work. The compromise that I was offered was to have me in the office every single day, finishing off at 4:30 every day, which would mean that I wouldn't be able to pick up my son from school, not even one day of the week. And so on the spot, I handed in my resignation. And I had been with the organization for 3.5 years, and they were driven by ethics. And I walked out, and I had 11 weeks to build a business. I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no idea who I was going to serve. I had no idea how I was going to generate an income. I had $2,000 in my bank account, and I was a single mom and still am. And as I walked out of my boss's offices, it was the most liberating feeling. And I had a what the fuck moment. But I realized there and then that I was no longer going to compromise what was important to me. And I didn't care what it was going to take. I had no safety net. I was just jumping off the side of the mountain. And yeah, I made a commitment that year I was going to wake up on my birthday without a job, because I knew that if I couldn't be myself in an organization like that, that was focused on culture and that was driven by ethics, if I couldn't make it work there, I wasn't going to make it work in any organization. And I had to see it. You know, I worked in finance, I worked in accounting, I worked in insolvency, I worked in events management. And then I got to ethics and I thought, this is it. I'll be here for the rest of my life. And the things I saw just reminded me that, you know, human beings are complex. And unless, as I said at the beginning, unless we bring on our mental faculty and our emotional faculty and our spiritual, energetic, and all the pieces, and our physical bodies, we're not able to work at the level of excellence that I'm about. And so I called in the high achievers and I said, hey sisters, come and play. And it didn't happen. I didn't fall right into women. I thought, I've been working with men. I was brought up by a man. I'd been working with men for 18 years. And I thought, oh, well, let's just continue on, you know, doing the male thing. And once again, I was shown that it just takes too long. Just takes too long. And I'm currently working with one man, and he's phenomenal. He's just moved from here to there in moments. I don't choose to work with men, but he had said, Leigh, I'll do the work. I'll listen to you. I'll do the work. I'll take the action. And I said, sure. And so he's been working with me for the past few weeks. But the focus is women. And the reason why is because we're direct. We're direct. And the women who I call into my world they're either ready for me or they're not. They're either ready to be seen for who they truly are, and they're ready to share themselves with the rest of the world, and they're ready to own their power, and they want to be held, but they're also ready to hear, because there's no getting away from me. I'm going to see your power. I'm going to see your magnificence. I'm going to see your beauty. I'm going to see all the things, and I'm just going to say, hey, like, you're a really magical being, and these are all the reasons why. And what I find is people go, oh, so that's how I'm going to make money, just by being me. I've just got to be me, so I can just be smart, and I can just be beautiful, and I can just be passionate, and I can just have fun, and I can just create all the things that are being shown to me, and I can work with all the people that I want to work with. Like, yeah, you can. And here's a system and a framework that is in alignment with who you are to make that happen, because I'm an engineer. Come and play.
Yeah, I could see how your background and what it prepped you for, but also the crisis it created for you set you up perfectly for this, right? Because you did keep going and going and going until you realized, oh, this structure, this type of organization is not going to be ready for me. I've got to create it. Do you find that women that you attract have similar backgrounds in that they had found when they were themselves, whether it was professionally or personally in their family, wherever, that they stepped on toes or learned somewhere along the way to either go ahead and rock the boat or to tone it down?
There's a huge mix, because the women that I work with range between 25 to 55. Most of them are between 35 and 55, but there are those really sharp young ones who are ready and they hop on. The common thread between all of them is that they've all got big picture visions and they've all got a holistic approach. And so whether they were stepping on other people's toes or not, if I think about, I mean, over the past couple of years, I've worked with over 100 women. There are a few in there, but it's more about the insecurity that was nourished by the environments that they were in, because they constantly felt like they were not good enough. They're going, but I can see, but can't you see what I see? Can't you see that there's this big picture here, and we've got to have all of these components, and if you miss out this one component, we're not going to be able to do the whole thing. Okay, but you want to take the long route round, right? Okay, so we're going to leave out those few things, and then we're going to do the same thing over and over again, and we're going to bash heads up against the wall. And so that's more of the commonality, that each and every human being has a very holistic approach to everything that they're doing, and they come from very different walks of life, and not everyone's a coach, not everyone's a consultant. There's a huge mix between them. That's a good question, and I'm going to sleep on that, because I love to see the connecting points.
We've had a few meetings together over the last few weeks, and the very first networking call that I hosted after everything in the world started shifting, I had announced that we were going to dedicate part of the meeting to checking in, seeing how everyone's doing, how are you feeling, and I asked the group, let's do a check-in, let's just survey where we are, and wherever you are on the spectrum, that's fine. And you were the first one to type in the comments, I'm so excited, right? And I'll never forget it, because it was like, I personally breathed a sigh of relief, right? Because I don't do well being the therapist. And so I was hoping that we could have at least, someone on holding up that end. So what would you say has been the main reason that you have navigated this time very well, whereas other people have felt more lost, or it's been more challenging or triggering? Why do you think that is?
I think it's because I'm on my path, and so I'm just doing my thing. I'm just doing what I've been called to do. Over the past 5 years, I have been getting rid of anything that doesn't serve me, whether it be things or people or behaviors. So I've been working on the addiction to certain thoughts, the addiction to not being good enough, the addiction to having certain things that have to be in their place. I come from a life of perfectionism. Excellence and perfectionism have two there's a very distinct difference between them. But as a perfectionist and wanting to control everything and wanting to have everything in its place, I've been, over the past 5 years, I've been letting go of all of that, and I've been really focused on the things that matter. So when it came to a point of you got to go inside and you can't do all these things and you can't see all of these people, nothing changed in my world, because I don't need anyone or anything to be joyful. I could hang out with myself for weeks on end and have the biggest party ever. And it wasn't like that before. I always needed someone or something, or to be doing something, or to be putting something in my mouth, or to be getting high, or to be getting drunk, or to be having sex with someone. And now I just do my work, and it's so much fun. I get to build and create every single day. At any point in time, I'm supporting people to build and create their businesses. And so that's, at any point in time, I've got about 20 businesses that I'm building. And so there's no time for any bullshit. You know, I've got my 11-year-old son. I've got my vessel to take care of. I've got my amazing clients that I work with on a daily basis. And I've got stuff to build and create and continue on doing what I'm doing, which is to grow. I'm the founder of Inategy, which is the Institute of Divine Feminine Leadership and Sustainable Business Growth. And so this is a lifetime engagement. And it doesn't matter what is going on in my outside world. I'm just here building, you know, I'm just here creating, and there's nothing that can get in my way, because all I need is me and a computer.
Yes.
And powerful communication with the right people, because my vision is one global team. That's what I'm here for, is to build one global team. And the way that I'm getting there is to raise the vibration of the planet by bridging the gap between power and leadership, by combining the three fundamental pieces to create change in the world. And that's intuition, nature, and strategy. And so who's got time to worry about what's going on in the news? We've got a global pandemic. Let's do something about it. We've got people who are unwell. Let's do something about it. We've got Mama Earth who's asking for help. Let's do something about it. Often my clients will focus on, but this is what's not working. And I say, well, don't talk to me about that. Talk to me about what you desire. What do you desire? You desire to feel more comfortable during this global pandemic? Okay, let's make that happen. This is really uncomfortable. This is not working. That person's pissing me off. This system in my business is not working, or don't talk. That's just a whole bunch of energetic real estate that is being used up. No, what do you desire? Tell me what you desire. And then I'll make that happen for you, because that's my zone of genius. Yeah. I make things happen. Whatever they are, I make them happen. So you just get clear on what you do. I don't know what I desire. You don't know. Okay. Well, you go off and you go and dream a little bit. You get really clear on the view you want to have, the people you want to have in your life, the way you want to feel. You go and get clear on that. And along that rebirthing journey, that rebirthing process of going, is that okay? Is it okay that I desire to overlook the ocean every single day? Is it okay that I desire to have an incredible partner that sees me for who I am? Is it okay that I want to contribute to the sustainability of humanity and the planet? I'm like, yeah, it is. and I'm going to give you everything that you require to enable you to get there without you having to change anything about yourself other than learning to focus on what you desire.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And everything you just said, that's why I'm so excited to have you in the next project. You know, you're in awakening, and this is really what it's about. What do you want to create? Who do you want to be? What do you want your life to look like? It's not set in stone. Yeah.
No.
Let's pop up your Facebook page. Everyone can find you and connect with you at your business Facebook page and find out how they can work with you. Is there anything in particular you'd like to share about your business and how people can, go through this process with you?
Before we get there, I just had something that dropped in, and it's very much about this process, right? And you have to be ready to be seen. You know, if you're a high achieving female entrepreneur who's ready to build her business profitably and sustainably and do it without burning out, do it without having to change things about yourself, then you're ready. And, you asked me what the catalyst was. And this is a fundamental piece that just totally slipped my mind. And it's the everything. You asked me a question, how did I build a relationship with women after not having a relationship with women and having, I'd been stabbed in the back so many times before. I was seen by a group of women. I had chosen to go on a retreat after I'd done a leadership program in 2017. And I sat in the circle with these women, and I was just being me because I was there for my own personal growth. I was there to learn, and I was doing me. So I was seeing people for who they were, and I was asking questions, and I was looking to understand. And many of the women came up to me afterwards and said, "Leigh, what do you do?" And I said, I'm an EA. I support male CEOs. And they said, "So you don't facilitate women's circles?" And I said, "No, definitely not." Not my jam. Definitely not my jam. Nah. Well, you should, because you're a leader and you have the capacity to hold space in a way that I've never experienced before. What are you talking about? And so when I got back, that was in Ibiza in August 2017. When I got back, I had got onto the train to go to work. I walked my normal path, the 8-minute walk, and I got into the office and I sat down in front of my desk with the white wall in front of me, keeping in mind that I had been overlooking the trees. And on day 2, I decided that clothing was now optional. And the other woman decided that, well, this feels quite nice. I might as well do that too. And so, everybody landed up naked for the rest of the retreat. And there was a beautiful infinity pool. And we literally saw, just the top of all of these trees. So I go from total freedom, being seen, heard, held, appreciated, releasing all of this stuff, to sitting in front of the computer, in front of this white wall with my high heels on. And when I moved to stand up, I couldn't walk. My hip went into spasm. And for 3 days, I had to pull myself up the stairs. And my body said, computer says no. This is not for you. And so it went from August to September to October. And that's when I started to try and explore things. And I put forward my proposal a couple of months later. And I went, okay, maybe if I can just get the freedom and the flexibility, because it's really important to my son. He said, I don't want to go to aftercare anymore. And I went, okay, let's see how we can make that happen. And that didn't work. And I just went, okay, I've been given all of the signals. My mind is telling me no. My body is telling me no. My emotions, my heart is shutting down. The most important human being in my world is saying, I don't want to go to aftercare anymore. And my bosses are not giving me the flexibility that I'm asking for. And I went, okay, it's time to step into your power, woman. But it was the women in that circle who saw me. I'd never been seen before. I'd never been appreciated for my directness. I'd never been appreciated for my open heart. I'd never been appreciated for my beauty in, my unique way, in the way that these women did. And so for me, I believe that every woman should have a woman's circle to go to. Every woman should have a space to be heard and held and witnessed. And that's when I created Business Circle School. I went, cool, we're not doing business this way anymore. We're adding in the woman's circle component, and I'd gone on training to do that. And I had my strategy, and so I incorporated it all, and that was it. It was being seen by women. And I went, I'm ready for you. I'm ready to share myself with you, because if you are here, there must be others like you. And so I started going, hi, are there any more like you out there?
I love that. I love it. And it leads me right to one of my favorite lines that you had sent me. Listen to your inner whispers and take courageous action. That's everything you just shared.
Yeah, it's everything. So yeah, I'm here, I work at an accelerated pace, but the women are ready for it. The women are ready because of the way that we do things. We bring it all in. We bring in all parts of you, and this is what makes it so easy to build phenomenal businesses really, really quickly. So thank you for having me. And yeah, for all the women that are watching, just be you. That's literally all there is to do. Just own your power and go out into the world and have fun and experience pleasure and make lots of money and go and create impact. That's what we're here for. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leigh.
For sharing.
Yes, thank you for taking part of your Saturday to be with us. I want to remind everyone to pick up their free pass to Networking Influencers and my free guide, Jumpstart Your Book. Those links are in the description. Thank you for being with me, Leigh. Big hugs from Mexico. Until next time, everyone.